Hello friends, Monica from Valkyrie, and joining me is of course Valkyrie. Now in part 1 we made those awesome horns, and today we will finish it with the mask. Now I'm really quite proud of it because this is made with just a few different kinds of paper, some glue and of course paint, and those round-headed fasteners we introduced in part 1, the horns of the Valkyrie. Now this is very simple. I will take you step by step through the process, and let's make a fabulous mask here. Alright, so before we start, some explanation regarding the pattern. So the pattern you will find at wikidaviery.com under the DIY section, and just look for Valkyrie Mask and Horn pattern. It probably will have a roommate somewhere. Now, okay. So all the pieces we need are here, and you're going to have to transfer them onto heavier paper. Now, those pieces here where it says cut on fold, right? I didn't have enough space to put them on whole, so they are like this. So this one here and the mask here are just half. So you're going to have to transfer them onto a paper like that. And then they will go onto the heavier paper. Now this is a poster board from the dollar store I'm using. Cereal box paper material will work very well. So you will have to transfer all of those ones, and make sure that all the numbers and those points are also being transferred. They are important. So page 1 and page 2 is kind of like the main body of the mask. So on page 3 you find also part of part 1, the horn. So this one here, right? This is the guide for the horn that you need to construct. The horns. How many times do I say horns? Okay. Now the rest of the parts here is this part here, right? So this part here is on page 3. So cut 4 times, 6 times, and 4 times, because we need a whole bunch, right? So 7, 14 in total. So 3 different lengths. So those are those ones here, and this part is this one here. Now you need 2 times. I think I scanned it already where it said 1 time. So this part here, you need 2 strong cardboards, because we're gonna sandwich them together later, okay? So 2 times of this one, even though it says 1 here. That's that. And also this part here on the video will look differently, like this. At the time I didn't know. This is not going to work in the future. I will find out later. So this is the adapted pattern. So this is everything you need to know. Alright, we're gonna start with this one here. Alright, so here are my pattern pieces all cut out, and all the holes are marked with the right numbers, right? So let's see if that works. Now, okay, so those 2 pieces here, I just join on the bottom. I suppose I could have cut them out like that, but I did not. So here we go. Okay, now, so we're going to take this piece. So this is the top one. So all we're going to do now is join the numbers together here. So number 1 goes to number 1 here, and then number 2, number 2. And if we made the holes right, it should go straight in. Yes. Okay, this side, take number 1 here, number 1 there. Number 1, number 1. And then number 2. So indicated by the pattern I cut in. Those ones, those marks here, are where we are going to attach the horns. Now, here number 5. Now number 5 goes to number 5. Now had a little bit of difficulties placing here, so I hopefully that, okay, yes, it works. This looks like a mask, right? So, and this one here, so it kind of slid into place. Now all you have to do is put it on your face and see if it fits. Okay, so this fits me. This is the right size for me, and so if that fits you, wonderful. Continue straight from here. Otherwise, if you go, no, this is too, it doesn't fit me, my head is bigger than this, then we just go, open up number 1, open up number 2, and we're just gonna move this one down. So we're gonna use number 1B, B as in big, right? We're still gonna use number 1 on the bottom. So just move it over a bit. Number 1B goes into number 1 again, and then 4B goes to 4B. 4B, 4B. Same thing here. So 1B, B as in bigger or big, goes into still number 1. There's only one hole for those first ones. Then 4B goes to 4B in the back. There. Now the mask is bigger. Put it on. Yes, of course it is too big for me. Now I don't have a big face to practice on. You might have to move the mask up a bit, but there we go. So I'm giving you an option here, right? But I'm going to change it back to the first size. Okay, so we have the mask here back to my size, and now let's continue cutting all the pieces we need. Alright, so this is the pattern of the nose. Now I transferred this onto the paper here. Now make sure, see the paper has a grain, so this way it's harder to bend. So we want it this way, so make sure you transfer it this way. Okay, here it is all cut out. Now I'm just pre-shaping it a little bit. And here is our little mark that I cut. Fold this, bend it, lines flush on top, right, one line, hold it, a little clamp there. Okay, all dried up. Now just going to kind of make a triangle here a little bit, shape it a bit like a nose, right? And here we go, nose is in, everything cut and looking good. Now we're gonna go and start strengthening the mask and adding some texture to all those parts, just like we did in part 1 with the horns. And this is gonna get a bit messy. So grab your glue, just regular glue, a brush, some kitchen towel or a napkin, and we're gonna need a bunch of tissue paper crumbled up. Let's get messy. Alright, let's begin by gluing the forehead together and painting glue all over the mask. If the glue is too thick, just dilute it with water. And then add a paper like a kitchen towel or a napkin and press it on. And that's it. I am not concerned here about texture. This is just to strengthen the mask a bit. And then once dry, just pull the excess paper off. It is still nice and bouncy. Now we're moving on to the eyepiece. Now before I can add texture there, I have to glue those two parts together first. Now, just like we did in part 1, the horns, I'm creating texture here with the glue and the crumpled up tissue paper. Just lay it down and dab it on with a dry brush. You can also use your dry finger and just create as much texture as possible. And you have to make sure to put it back onto the mask before it's dry, because it will warp and so it will dry the way it is supposed to. Now moving on to the feathers. I kept them in place with the now debunked headpiece, but it will work with the new design as well. So this first layer I did very fast and just added glue and tissue paper. And this is the back side, so I wasn't too concerned about that. You might even want to skip that and just work on the front. So I did the same in the front. And once dry and cleaned up a bit, I did go over and added pieces with a bit more care. Now I'm painting all the pieces with a matte black paint, and that's where I discovered very quickly that this part is just too wimpy. So I came up with another way to hold the feathers together, and then continued adding gold paint. So this one, you have to make sure that the brush is as dry as possible. So I'm taking off as much paint on a cloth first, and then brush very gently over all the beautiful wrinkles we created earlier. And this is a very simple way of bringing, you know, decorative aspects to life here. Very simple and quite satisfying to do. All right, design number 2, failure also. The feathers are just too low. On to number 3. Now this part I'm cutting out with a stronger cardboard and distributing the feathers between the now 4 holes. So I'm using 3 on the inner and 4 on the outer hole here. I'm struggling a little bit until I realized I have to turn it around. Do not fight gravity. And this part turned out quite nice. Thank you very much. All right, continuing with painting, just adding a little bit of silver here over the gold, just to decorate a bit more. The mask is a little bit wide here, so just really I'm pressing it together to the shape I want. If this is too wide for you, you can always control it by adding a wire, but I really want to keep it just simple with just the paper. So this is flexible. Now this part here also, this gives a little bit of a ridge, right? If it's too pointy for you, also just I kind of break it, try to make it round, because this part is going to be covered. Right, now let's add this piece to the mask. Now I glued a piece of poster board right here onto that feather holders, and then I'm continuing attaching it about an inch in the mask. Now I'm using the round-headed fasteners here. You might just want to glue the whole thing on with the glue gun. It is wide enough, that should hold it too. But at this point I still don't know if this is working. Seems to be working okay. Now the nose slides in very easily between the mask and the headpiece there, and all I have to decide now what kind of color I'm going to use. I decided on this one here. I like the dry brushing method. The color is not so in your face, I thought. Okay, some more alteration here. I thought the mask looked too long, so I gave it a chin by just cutting into the mouthpiece here about an inch in. Do the same on the mask itself, and then just glue everything in place. And finally, let's put on the horns. So I needed to make the surface of the horns flat. If you remember, there was quite a bit of hollow spaces, so I'm just using the glue gun and some tissue paper here. And the aim here is to create just a flat space. Now, for the first time, I'm trying magnets here. And why am I using 2? I don't know. I thought 2 is better than 1. Now I'm using the glue gun to just hug the magnets a little bit. Don't cover it, that was too much, I tried. Just a little bit on the edge, right? So I'm putting the horn approximately where I want it, like this, and then the magnet on the other side. Are you holding on? There we go. Snap together. And it's holding it quite strong. Of course you can rip it off, but it won't come off. Okay, let's do the other one. So approximately here. Did you find each other? Yes. Okay, now I can move it slowly. There we go. And they're holding steadfast. Pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. I wasn't sure if it would work. And then I can use the horns on another project, right? And if you don't want that, you can just glue gun it on. Because the horns are light, and yeah, so I'm really happy with the magnets. Alright, last but not least, the lips. Now that gives me a little bit of a hard time, so I'm just using a poster board here and I'm just squishing it a little bit into shape. But if you want a more simpler method, I put 2 samples onto the pattern. Okay, and this is it, the end. Now it turned out really good, I think. Now, of course, you can paint it totally different. I can agonize over the fact, should it be silver, should it be gold? What about the nose? I painted the noses in so many different colors, and I finally settled on this one. At one point you have to say, this is it, no more trying. And also I could have put more decorations, but I think it was too much. Good enough. At this point you can go crazy, put more stuff on. This is of course just a suggestion. This is the way I do it. You do it totally different. And now let's see how it goes on. Oh, also to just make the I just made a hole here on the side. It's always on the level of the ear, and pulled an elastic band through it. Now let's put it on. All right, and there we go, the mask in full view. Very light, very easy to wear. Thank you so much, my friends, for watching. You are the best, and the new adventure coming up right over here. Yeah.